Good afternoon, traders. It's Mark here from the day trading room. Coming up to 12:30 in the afternoon, London time on Monday, the 4th of April. Hope you all had a great weekend. Enjoyed the time off. I'm looking at the moment, look about plus 15 on the gap, but it's early days yet. Still got another 2 hours or so until the open. Didn't get opportunity at the weekend to run through Thursday and Friday's trades, so let's journal those now. A very, very quiet day on Thursday for me. I think Thursday was my quietest day. 31st of March it was. But you can see this is the trade on Thursday. Very, very range bound. Not a lot of range in total. I think it was a 40-point range in total. Yeah, very, very, very dull. Didn't get anything in the open, and ended up just sitting there watching it for the day. Yeah, I think I took a couple of trades on oil at the open, which is probably why I didn't trade the Dow. But let's talk about the Dow trade. The only trade I did in the evening was this little short here. Why did I do it? Well, it's coming up to the close, end of the month. I just thought maybe there's going to be some reshuffling of portfolios. Perhaps people are going to be covering positions. I don't know. But I saw the low tick reading here. I saw a reasonable spike in volume relative to the rest of the day. I saw the pullback and I took the short there. Sat with that for a while. Covered half just as we approached this low. I didn't, as we sat with it for so long, I didn't think, okay, I thought, well, time's running out here. At least take some risk off, and then just closed half at the cash close. So yeah, little profitable trade. That nothing exciting, but I thought perhaps we'd get a little bit of a flush lower. But again, it was only really a thought, and I wouldn't have taken it if we hadn't got the low ticks and a decent volume on this bar. Really like to see three, so just had a little nibble at that. Okay, let's talk about oil trades on Thursday, Friday. I think, where are we? That was the 30th. We've already talked about that. Should have had this prepared. There we go. There's the 31st. Right. Oil drove up really aggressively off the open, and I bought this first pullback after the initial push. Bought the first pullback. Probably I wanted to wait. Actually, didn't buy that one there. There we got a drawing pen out. I didn't buy the first little dip here. I just wanted to wait to see a little bit more strength. Got a little bit more strength here. Through the 106, but then we started to hold. It was, it's the classic one. Good volume on the move, on the drive move, lower volume on the pullback, and then as soon as I saw the buyer step in again, I front run them and look for the pop. Disappointing, really. I took it out as we took out that high. So literally just a scalp looking to take out as it took through the 106. It then exploded through. I took another scalp long just because I saw there was just relentless buying there. And this was a little pause here. We'd pushed up and just paused for a minute, so it gave me another opportunity to get in again, and just took another quick scalp on there on the long side. Should have held for the whole lot, really disappointing. But a little bit out of sync, just slightly out of sync. All it takes is to be out of step with the market by half a pace, and you're not catching quite the moves. And this is what happened really with these next few trades. Took the long here. Which gave a bit of profit actually, but I didn't take it off the table. I was looking for that. So that was the first pullback, or the continuation, or the flag type pattern from the opening drive. Then I'm looking for the first pullback to go long again, looking for the subsequent push up. I thought this was it here because we put in a little tail and just started to push up. So I took the long here. We did push up a bit, but started to come back, and ended up taking a 5 tick or so loss on that one. Which was disappointing, but I thought I had a sense I'd mistimed it, so I waited. Anyway, we pulled back down a little bit further, and now I'm seeing again a bit of a push up, but really the volume gave it away. This time I wasn't going to be greedy about this. I took half off the table on the first push, and looking for a revisit the highs. We didn't get it. We started then to roll over and end up scratching the second half for break even. So not great. Okay, profitable trade on that one. This one was a small loser, and these are okay, but really didn't make the most of what was actually quite a good setup. I would have normally expected this to push again, but obviously the volume did give it away. I should have spotted the fact that there was no real burst in volume, and it was just a bit of a push higher, and that was it. So that was it, I think, for oil for Thursday. You have to bear with me a bit. I'm better when I've do the journaling immediately after the trades. So I don't think that was it on oil for Thursday. So let's move on to Friday's trades. Friday again, a little bit out of sync, and this was dreadful. I felt I didn't feel in tune again. With the initial drive, we haven't had many opening drives on oil for a while, so I'm perhaps not expecting it, perhaps not in tune to seeing that on the tape. But anyway, we got the push lower. I shorted this pullback. It was a great entry here. It was around the 42. We pushed lower, and I had an exit for half at 32, and we just missed it, if I remember rightly. Yeah, I just we did hit 32, but I didn't get filled because I was late in the book. Pushed down, and then it pulled back up again to my entry. And at that point, I thought, oh, I've misjudged this, which was the wrong thing to do. I was looking too closely at the tape and not at the bigger picture, really. But nevertheless, I put the whole order in at 32, and I got filled, and I took 10 ticks on it, and the rest is history. I was out of the short, and it just subsequently collapsed, and I missed this whole move. I didn't want to then chase it. It's the worst possible thing. I've taken a profit off the table. I've left a lot of ticks on the table for a great call, but didn't. My plan was take off half, and I altered the plan because I didn't get filled in the first half and saw it go back to my break-even point. So at that point, I thought that maybe this was going to then re-push and retest the high. So I took the 10 ticks off for the lot and subsequently missed this move. Now, it happens, and the main thing is that I'm not going to chase it. I'm looking for a pullback to get in short. I'm seeing it. Okay, fine. It's gone without me. Forget it. The trade's gone. Move on. There will be more opportunities. That's the only way you can look at it. If you look at it and you get frustrated about it, then just step back for a second, think about it, and reassess and look for new opportunities. That opportunity is gone. You're going to miss them. Happens every day. Or it may not happen every day. It happens weekly, let's say. And you just got to get used to it. I'm used to it now. And as annoying as it is to be in that absolutely beautiful level on the first pullback, and to have been able to take 100 ticks off the table in 5 minutes or so, yeah, and I came out early. It happens. That's trading. So I then concentrate on the next setup, which for me is the pullback and then drive lower. That's the continuation. This is the first deeper pullback. Got a deeper pullback. Started to see a few tape sellers just getting involved in this, and took the short there in the high 60s, and closed it out just as for 10 ticks as we just push lower here. And actually, that was a good read. That was a good read on my part, because I just didn't see really, when you've had that sort of flush move lower, if you're taking this first pullback trade and drive lower again, the secondary drive, that should go really pretty quickly. There should be some urgency to that. So when I'm in on there, and obviously the stop's above that high there, when I'm in there, that candle should be at least to here. Then either retesting. Fine, if it double bottoms, I'm not bothered about that. I'll take it off the table. But looking for a secondary drive at least lower. But when it just starts to dwindle around, and I just saw that there was buyers stepping up, I just covered the lot, and it was a good read. It was a good read. Again, though, this was this was okay. This was okay, but it didn't. I read it well, but it didn't give me the sort of profit that would have been nice. The irony of it is these cluster of trades here were both great reads on the market action and the exits, and that was a poor read. I read that incorrectly and came out too early. So if I'd have been reading it as well here, then that would have made the week. But hey ho, that's the way it is. Let's I just thought it started to roll over, really started to pick up some steam. Saw that low was in sight. Saw this little cluster of support starting to go, so jumped on that, pushed it, gave it a little bit of force, and came out as we and actually I know this is what happened. I covered half as we broke through that last low into that little stop, into the little exhaustion flush, in case it's a double bottom. It pushed back up, revisited again, and started to loiter around here. I thought, okay, this is looking like it could want to push lower, so re-added again that half that I took off, and then immediately saw that actually there's no follow through here. We're just hanging around in the low 40s. If this is going to go, this would have gone by now. So covered the whole lot out of that. So that was a nice little trade. Read it well, but not huge amount of profit on the table to be taken. Again, that's the way it goes. And I think that was it for the Friday. Yeah, for the Friday. So yeah, disappointment of the day. But otherwise, trading well. Dow on Friday. Let's get this chart up. Okay. Yeah, this was a bit of a misread again for me. I saw that we were opening quite strong, and I perceived with the ticks being as high as they were that we would push up. I was expecting us to pull back and push up. And which is why I took a long here, two entries actually. I was scaling into the position. I don't do that very often with many setups, but in this case, because of the situation, I was happy to do that. And then basically ended up making only a couple of ticks on that because it went against me. I had, as I say, scaled in. It started to go against me as it pushed back up. This one was in the profit and this one was in a loss, so it was call it a scratch for what it's worth. So misjudged that. Then I just saw us holding at this cluster here and thought I'd take a short, looking for a little short. But my premise was for the pullback lower on a strong open to then redrive to new highs. So the premise was that there's the open, pull back to find that little sweet spot for this fresh drive. And so when I'm taking things opposing the initial trade, I'm definitely not going to be holding them. I don't want to be holding them. And actually, even if you don't realize it, you've got a bit of conflict in your mind because your premise, your overview, okay, of course you can change that at any time, but if you're still thinking, hang on, that trade is still valid, and in my head I was still thinking, okay, the trade is still valid, that we're pulling back and we're going to then drive up, and in actual fact that's what happened. As you can see, my timing was just off. And so when I'm taking shorts, you've got to either be thinking this is just scalping, I'm reading the tape, I've spotted a seller on the tape, or I'm just literally just going to grab this and get out. But in the back of your mind, you've always got that bigger picture thinking, okay, I'm actually trading against the grain here. And that cost me in this instance. I took a nice little short scalp here, not a lot of profit, literally just a scalp. Again, this started to pick up, nice low ticks, pulled back, ticks to zero, looking for a revisit. It just started to fail. I just thought perhaps we'd fill the gap. That was my target. It just started to dwindle a bit, and again, still thinking of that bigger picture there. Took it off the table, and that was it. And so, okay, two little scalp profits there, but actually, they cost me not being able to get on the long. Maybe this would have been the long here, as we saw the fail. And I saw the same thing I did there on the exit to enter and look for that drive that I was looking for. You know what? Didn't get it. That's the way it goes. Anyway, we drove up, took out the high, and also that was the 12,400 cash level. We took that out quite nicely. It was around about here, if I remember rightly. 12,400 cash. Great setup. This pull back, ticks 1,000, pull back. There's your zero ticks. It was back to just under the 12,400. Bang, I'm in on that with some, I'm pretty aggressive on that one. I like that setup. That's great. And we got a nice drive up higher. And then as we just started to dwindle, I'm just, and the ticks just weren't actually as aggressive as I'd like. Just took it all off the table. Perhaps I should have trailed one maybe, but yeah, I didn't. So that's that. So I can't complain on the day. I can't complain. Things I could have done better, sure. In fact, on Thursday and Friday, a couple of things I could have done better. But important thing is to know when you're not in sync, to know when you're not reading it correctly, to know perhaps when the trade isn't right. And you can see I took a few stop outs. Didn't adversely affect the day. Okay, I missed. I think that oil was probably the miss of the week. But that's the way it goes, and you can't do much about that. So that's it in terms of trades for Thursday and Friday last week. We'll see what this week brings. Good trading, guys. As always, manage your risk, and back with another video in a week.